Welcome back to Halftime Report on CNBC-TV18. Let's focus and put the spotlight on one Mobikwik. They reported their numbers. Revenues are seeing a decline of around 7% on a year-on-year basis and almost muted on a sequential basis, slight bit of a decline there as well. We're seeing that the losses of the company have widened versus, whether YOY or QOQ that you compare. Now, obviously, why have the losses widened? Because there's an exceptional provisioning that has happened this time as well. There was a bit 11.8 crores of exceptional provisioning. There's a fraud that took place in Q2 FY26. So that was something that did impact the profitability of the company. But what is the outlook from here on? What are we watching out for? We have Bipin Preet Singh, who is the MD and CEO at the company, to talk to us about that. Bipin, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. Let me start by talking about just the overall business. Revenues this time have seen a decline of 7%. Lending business, how is that doing? You mentioned that it would get back to around 40% the last time we spoke. So where does it stand right now? And what is it that is expected by FY26?
Hi, thank you. So thank you for having me here on this show. Firstly, I would like to correct you. I think in terms of the numbers that you mentioned, our losses haven't actually widened, not on a Q1Q basis, because if you look at the EBITDA that we have reported, it is minus 6.4 crores versus almost minus 31 crores it was for last quarter. So there is actually an 80% improvement in the EBITDA margin, and we are pretty close to break even, as close to break even as we have been over the last few quarters. While revenues have actually been steady, even quarter on quarter, it's almost like 280 crores, 279 crores. Compared to last quarters, JAS is usually a slower quarter from a business point of view. But still, when we look at the overall headline metrics of the company, in terms of the payments GMV, we actually grew 13%. So we almost did 48,000 crores of payments GMV this quarter, which was 13% higher than 38,000 crores that we did last quarter sequentially. And year-on-year basis, it grew almost 50% because it was around 28,000 crores last year, same time. In fact, when we look at payments, we are doing very well in UPI, in wallet, as well as in bill payments, which continue to be our mainstay. Thanks to these initiatives, we are one of the fastest growing UPI apps. If you look at the last 6 months data from NPCI data, we are currently one of the top 3 fastest growing apps. So payments is doing extremely well. There is strong growth. It is not yet completely translated into revenue growth yet for this quarter, but we are very, very positive on the outlook for the payments going forward. In fact, even when we look at the bottom line for the payments, our contribution on the payments has increased from 27% to 29%. And so this is I would say we have one of the highest payment margins in terms of 14 basis points on every rupee of payment spent or payment GMV. So it's a pretty good performance, I would say, from a payments point of view. In terms of digital lending, like you asked, we have also actually been on the recovery mode, as you know, from the last quarter. Our last quarter margin was around 13%. So while revenue has grown from 58 crores to around 61 crores in lending, but the margins is where the real story is. It's grown from 13% to 41%. So net, when I combine the margins from the payment business as well as from the lending business, we had an outstanding quarter in terms of growth of margins from somewhere like 77 crores last quarter to 96 crores this quarter. So this is a very directional trend because, as you know, contribution margin is what ultimately determines our EBITDA. And thanks to the fact that fixed costs are also under control, so our EBITDA is actually ended up at 6 crores.
So, just to get that number cleared out before we move further with this conversation, Bipin, third quarter seasonally fairly strong. A lot of payments happen, a lot of online business happens, transactions happen. You will be EBITDA positive for sure, right? Because in a weak quarter, the JAS quarter, you've almost broken even. So it's obviously a foregone conclusion that you break even and have a positive EBITDA in the third quarter. And what's your path to sustained EBITDA profitability and net profitability beyond this?
So we have focused a lot on reining in our direct costs as well as fixed cost, both fixed costs as well as direct costs in the business. That is why you see this improvement in contribution margin, both in the lending business and the payments business, but especially in the lending business. And we do believe that the distribution of loans business is something that, is just 60 crores of revenue right now. Historically, we have done as high as 150 crores a quarter of lending revenue. So there is obviously a lot of upside. In terms of disbursal of loans, we did some 690 crores of disbursal last quarter, whereas this Q2 we have done some 800 crores. So there's clearly almost a 30% kind of a growth in that, and that we expect to continue. And as that grows, as you know, digital lending always has better margins, right? Distribution of loans. For us, that margin is almost 40%. So in 7% of 7.5% of what we disburse comes to us as revenue, and almost half of it, like 40% of it, comes as gross profit. And below that, there is not much cost, because it's a lean setup that we have. So I'm very, very hopeful that if these trends continue, we will be profitable in the second half, which is what we have promised and committed to the market as well.
And by profitable, you mean EBITDA profit or net profit as well?
Currently, I'm talking about EBITDA profitability. However, let's see how we perform. I think, like you said, these quarters, OND quarter and then JFM quarters, are usually the strongest quarters for us, if you see historical last few years financials as well. So we are hopeful that we will do better and break even.
Okay. Bipin, just one question. So the fraud that took place, right? You all have made some recoveries already on that front. I think almost around 11 crores is left now, approximately, right? So when will that recovery come by? Like, when are we expecting that?
See, look, the fraud incident that happened, and it was geographically concentrated in Nuh and Mewat areas of Haryana. We initially had an exposure of almost 40 crores. And, thanks to the team and the hard work that we have put in, and, the entire recovery effort that we have put in, we have been able to recover almost 70% of it, which is either in our bank account is already secured and just on its way. So the outstanding provision is 11.8 crores, which is not yet secured. By abundant precaution, we have taken the entire amount as a provision below EBITDA and as one of the exceptional items. We do believe that we will be able to recover a good part of this as well. But, this is something that I will leave for the next few quarters. But, I would say that, given that we had a 40 crores kind of exposure, we have done an outstanding job just by recovering 70% of it within such a short span of time. It's not even 2 months that have passed.
Typically, if one was to make a business model for you on a spreadsheet, how much should annually one account for shrinkage in the form of frauds, etc.? Largely because this is a business which is prone to such, nasties.
Look, I mean, this is a real one-off. Like, we spoke with our teams, our auditors, everyone. Something like this has never happened in the history of MobiKwik in the entire 15, 16 years that I started the company. We do have fraud exposures every year, but they are limited to usually, like maybe 1 crore, 2 crores max, right? Across the board. And if you see, that is how it's been over the last many, many years, at least the last 7, 8 years. This is really a one-off. What we are doing in order to ensure something like this doesn't happen is we have appointed somebody who's as an independent auditor. We've gotten audits done, incident reports done. We have been in touch with the regulator as well, and we are re-looking at all the processes and policies and the entire risk management, which will ensure that even if there is a technical glitch, this was like a bug or a tech issue that was introduced in the system. Even if something like that were to happen and should not happen, we have enough guardrails built to react very, very quickly and make sure that we always have limited exposure or no exposure.
All right, take that point, Bipin. Thank you so much for that. Wish you good luck for the second half of this year, and looking forward to EBITDA profitability, and at some point maybe you surprising on the positive side with a bottom line in the black as well. And hopefully that sustains beyond H2 and into the next couple of quarters, which are seasonally weak as well. If your business is so strong, that continues to be strong. With that, take a short break, come back on the other side. Some trading strategies coming in from Sachidanand Dutekar.